They'll feel confident. Reporting live, I'm Anita Lightfoot. Back to you, Des.
All right, Anita, thank you.
Sure.
All right, it is 7:06 right now. That's a look at news, but we continue our conversation about those debates, and I'm going to send it to Mark.
All right, thanks, Des. Ken and Cater from the Democratic Party here in San Diego, and Mark Price from the Republican Party join us this morning. Were you watching the ball game on split screen last night, first off? Be honest.
It was too depressing to watch the Red Sox go down last night, so I stayed with the debate.
Stay with the debate. What about you, Mark?
I was actually at a forum and awards ceremony last night during the debate, so it was taped and I watched it later on. So
Okay.
I was up late watching the debate just for you.
Okay, well now, we don't know the numbers yet. We don't know how many people watch this, but certainly if the first two are any indication, millions and millions of Americans, quite frankly, I was surprised at the numbers of people that not only watch the debates, but stay all the way through to the end.
36%. They got a 36% share versus the ball game got 16%.
So that's huge. So,
Huge.
Ken, how important is it?
Well, I think it's quite important. I think the debates have defined the race. It's anticipated now that as many as possibly 120 million people are going to vote. All of the polls, both the snap polls and the long-range polls, give victory to Kerry in all three debates.
But let's talk about what victory in the debates actually means. When we say victory, it's kind of an overall picture of, and it might have more to do with who looked better, who sounded better, who gave a better appearance. It's not necessarily to do with the issues, is it?
No, I think it is. I think that because the polls do break it down substantively, and people, I mean, there's not much else to look at with two guys standing behind a podium other than what they're talking about. You know, Bush did lose heavily in the first debate on attitude and style issues, and you could see a lot of the grimacing and the uncomfortableness come through in the second two debates, and I think that's because he feels that he's on the ropes. The momentum is going with Kerry now, and Kerry's got all the best answers according to all the polls, and certainly in my personal objective opinion.
Okay. Mark, how about your personal objective opinion?
Kerry may have the best answers from a sound good perspective, but they're not the best answers from a truthful perspective. I think the situation with the debates is that the American people will probably buy into the debates more from style than substance. On substance, everyone, even many Democrats have said publicly that on substance, Bush won. He had the facts on his side. He was supported by the facts, and he won. I remember a fellow named David Fry, who was a comedian, was mimicking, doing an interpretation of John Kennedy, and he was saying that the people in the United States are like the people in Massachusetts. They go to the polls, they weigh the candidates, and then they vote for the best-looking candidate. And let's hope that what happens here is that people actually study the issues and vote on substance, and then George Bush wins.
Okay, well, I warned you two ahead of time, and I asked you to try this, so I know we can all get along here. Kennan, give me one point that President Bush made last night that you felt was positive, where he might have actually scored some points. Thank you for playing. All right, Mark Price, you want to give it a shot? A point, something that John Kerry said last night that you felt he scored some legitimate points.
Yeah, good night. When he said good night and he was done whapping that mouth of his, I think that was he scored a lot of points. Folks like me were saying, thankfully this guy's done. I mean, think about what's happened.
Okay, Des, I tried.
No, let me tell you,
there's a lot more to go into, and you know, all the substantive answers were on Kerry's side. Gun control, abortion, stem cell research, the deficit, all of the domestic
Let's talk about
issues.
something that's very important here in San Diego, the border. Okay, Kennan, the president laid out a guest worker program with a registration card. John Kerry, I didn't hear much of a response to that. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a good start. It's a good start that you recognize that. I know in California, I don't know if you've seen that film, A Day Without a Mexican, but you know, the entire California economy would collapse without migrant workers. And so something has to be done to recognize the reality of it. What Kerry said is that you should gradually allow these people into society, especially the ones who are here, who have children who were born in the United States and who are making a contribution to our society. But
the only word he didn't use was amnesty, and that, I think, he was headed in that direction. He just didn't use the word, did he?
Well, I think you've got to recognize the reality. And going back to that film, not only would the California economy collapse without migrant workers, it could set off a chain reaction that would collapse the whole economy of the United States. So it's this huge workforce that's unacknowledged. We're willing to let them do the dirty work, pick the strawberries, clean our homes, and whatnot, and yet we won't allow them any of the benefits that we get because they are doing all the heavy lifting.
Mark, on the border.
The system, it's not about whether or not the work that they're performing is needed or necessary or helpful. It's not about that at all. It's about creating a system that allows people to do the work legally. And what President Bush is pointing out, and I think rightfully so, is you don't want to reward people for breaking our laws. And that's what's going on right now. When John Kerry talks about a plan, even though he stays away from this word amnesty, part of his plan, if you can call it that, is let's reward people for breaking the laws of this nation. And we have to come up with a system that allows the work to get done, that treats people fairly, but doesn't reward people for breaking our laws.
Okay, guys, we are out of time, so I'm going to have to just stop there, but let you make a closing statement here at the end of the debates. Kenneth?
I watch for the momentum now. The momentum is with Kerry, and watch for the polls to begin to break in Kerry's favor. When an incumbent has less than 50% approval rating, the incumbent ends up getting beat by significant numbers in November, and people are going to begin to make up their minds, those who are left, and it'll break significantly for Kerry, particularly against in all the newly registered voters that can't be polled.
Okay, that's your prediction, Mark?
Thank you. And I challenge the voters to look at the record of Kerry. It's a record that he's run away from. He won't talk about it. He's the most liberal member of the United States Senate. He has voted against defense. He has voted against everything that would benefit us in this war on terror. He's bad news. A Kerry win is a loser for America.
All right, thank you both. Now think about it, and maybe the next time you come back, you can say something nice about the other candidate. I'll give you all the time you need to
Had
work
a nice
on it.
tie on. Nice tie.
Well, yeah, they were both wearing matching ties. All right, thank you
Nice
both.
barber.
Lynn Cheney says that John Kerry took a cheap shot at her family last night in the debate. We'll hear from her next. And this is a big one in California coming up. Hear how each of the candidates plans to tackle illegal immigration and the border, along with security. We'll talk more about that. Plus, County Supervisor Ron Roberts answers questions about the pension fund problems and the mayor's race when he joins us live when Fox in the Morning comes right back. We're just getting started.
SDG&E reminds you when you hear a flex